so close. There's another three. The popping. Oh my god. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of eSports Report. I am of course Benson. There'll be no Puckett today sadly, as he is on a beach somewhere in Mexico. So very jealous, so very jealous. But we have an awesome show today lined up for you guys. It's all going to be about Season 3. We're days away from the last Call of Duty Ghosts event that there's going to be, and honestly, I'm really excited. We're going to be taking a look at some of the teams in a little bit, as well as that we have a huge announcement to do with Season 3. That's going to be happening pretty soon, around about 10 minutes or so, and we're going to be taking a look at some of the best moments from Season 2 finals. If any of you guys remember that, Season 2 was absolutely, it was incredible. Honestly, one of the best events I've ever been to, if I'm completely honest with you. But speaking of Season 3, let's take a look at some of the teams that we're going to be seeing in Columbus in a couple of days. We'll start off with Team Envious. Now, Envy, of course, you'll know this roster very, very well. MERK, JCap, Formal, Nameless. Such a talented squad. Formal, who has really just come into the Call of Duty community, and he's just come on with a blast, to be completely honest now. It seems like everyone on Reddit is saying Formal could potentially be one of the best on Call of Duty Ghosts as well. Nameless, he's been such a clutch player for the past year. You can always go back to his 1 versus 3 clutch at Clutch Champs, for example, if you ever need to sort of think about whether Nameless is a clutch player or not. I always go back to that because I honestly think he is one of the best in the game as well. And JCap and MERK, what can you say about those two guys? Fantastic veterans of the Call of Duty community. And to be honest, a very solid team. So I'd be looking at them, Team Envious, to really try and push maybe for a very high placement. Then we have, of course, Rise Nation. This team surprised so many people with their high placement on the online play. Of course, PACMAN, who was on ESR a couple of days ago, we had a great interview with him. Looney, Wheat, and Attach. Attach, well, what can you say about him? Go back to X Games, for example, and you remember Attach dropping some serious digits in all game modes. I think finally he's found himself a home. You know, he's very much being kind of fathered, if you will, by PACMAN. Wheats as well. Just incredibly talented player, and you've got to love the hat in that display picture, you really do. And of course Looney, another fantastic player. So, you know, Rise, they do have a lot to really live up to, I think, because people will be saying, oh yeah, they're online. They played very well at UMG Nashville, of course, which was just a couple of weeks ago. But I think this is really the event that they really want to go out with a big bang and prove themselves more than anything else. And of course, you guys are going to recognize this team, that up and coming Optic Gaming. Wow. NADESHOT, Clayster, Proofy, and of course, the Ginger Ninja himself, Scumpy. This is a team, again, who I think really want to try and prove themselves. They managed to take home X Games Gold, but since then, I really think they have an increased drive, a passion. They want to try and win more and more and more. And NADESHOT managed to pick up his first MLG championship this year, so a big achievement for him, but it isn't going to stop there. He desperately wants more, I feel. Clayster, of course, fantastic player. Proofy. I got to talk about Proofy for a second, because it seems everyone is giving him a lot of, I don't want to say hate necessarily, but ever since the sort of meta of the game went from the MTAR to the Vector, people said, oh, Proofy can't hang, Proofy can't hang. I still believe in Proofy, if I'm honest. I really think that this is going to be an event where he should come out and shine, because I kind of think, you know, he has a little bit to prove to the fans in a way, because they always seem to be getting on his back as of recent events. And then, of course, Scumpy. Well, he really hasn't got much to prove, has he? He had a fantastic UMG Nashville. I mean, making a top 5, I could have made a Scumpy top 5. It was that easy. He's getting so many good plays, and I still think has that drive and passion, even though it is the last event, to really go out and cause a big, I don't want to say upset, but big results for Optic Gaming. Up next, their sister team, or their brother team, I guess you could say, Optic Nation. MBOZE, the best S&D player in the world, Miracles, and Ricky. That's going to make up them, of course, Killer, the best S&D player in the world, or so he says, at least. And this team, honestly, they haven't really been getting the best performances, I feel. They played it pretty decent online, but I think this is going to be an event where they're going to go full throttle. Having spoken to Miracles and Killer, you know, a couple months back, really like, kind of like a heart-to-heart, I guess you could say. I know those two, they desperately want to win. They're not happy. Ever since taking home the 2013 Call of Duty Championship, they just want more and more. And to be honest, you can't blame them. And they have a great team to try and do that with. Ricky, just a fantastic player. We were doing some stats today, and we figured out in domination, Ricky caps an average of 5 caps every single game. He's leading that department in a lot of players in the COD League, so he's been doing a lot of OBJ as well as his standard slaying. And of course, MBOZE, he's been clutching up in S&D a lot, and You've got to say teaming with Killer and Miracles, definitely going to make that happen. But honestly, very, very talented team. Really looking forward to seeing what they can do come this weekend because, as I mentioned, I do think they have a lot to prove, but I'm not sure where they're going to place, to be completely honest with you, but hopefully they'll do pretty good. Up next, we have Team FaZe. And FaZe, well, your UMG Nashville champions, Censor, Parasite, Apathy, and Karma. Who would have thought Parasite and Karma would be teaming again? Not a lot of people. Those two were known for arguments and tiff-taffs, I guess is the best way of saying it. And of course, you know, you have US champions Censor and Apathy there on that team. It's a talented, talented team. But we've seen so many times this team just argue and break down online, communication and failures. But when it comes to it, when it comes to the LAN event, for some reason, this team just gels and they become an absolute force. And having won UMG Nashville, you kind of have to put them up there in at least your top 3 and when you're thinking towards this next weekend. But an interesting quote, which you'll probably hear as well in the bracket show later on this week, and it comes from Fizzard when he tweeted after UMG Nashville. The team that won the past event has never gone on to win the next event in the past 5 events. They have placed second, and then the third event ultimately dropped off. So I'm thinking FaZe is going to try and break that curse, and they have a great team to try and do that with. Karma, 2-time Call of Duty World Champion, and he seems to be settled down pretty well on this FaZe team, not going to lie. Up next, we have, I wonder who it's going to be actually, I'm not too sure, but we'll go to Denial eSports. Let's have a look at their team. Of course, STUDYY, Replays, Saints, and Zuma. This was a team that, when put together, people were thinking, okay, interesting. STUDYY, of course, played on Team Envious for a large part of Call of Duty Ghosts. Replays, captain of FaZe for a very, very long time as well. Saints, an unbelievably good Slayer. And Zuma, who, you know, recently I think has really broken onto the scene with just lights and bells and whistles, if you will. People now really recognizing Zuma to be a fantastic player. His sniper shot in S&D has just been godlike. And this Denial team really has been playing very, very well. They've had their lapses online, don't get me wrong. They've had some really poor performances where you sit back and you think, what's going on with this Denial team? It doesn't really make sense. But I have a feeling, again, going into the last event of the year, these guys are really, really going to be pushing it very, very hard for Call of Duty Ghosts. And although, yeah, you can argue, oh, Advanced Warfare is so, so close. Did the pros really, you know, are they concentrating fully on Call of Duty Ghosts when they can be thinking about the next game? I think so. I think everyone is going to be going into this event just fully wanting to win it, just so they can end Call of Duty Ghosts as the champions. And to be honest, this Denial team, more than likely to be able to do that. They do have a bit of a tough bracket from what I was looking at earlier on today, but I do think it is possible. So keep your eyes out for this team. Very, very talented team. Up next, we will be taking a look at Noble.VQ. Slasher, Sender, Chino, and Miyagi. This team, if I'm honest, I think could do well, but they are going to need to all be on their best just of all time. It is that simple. I think Sender, he's been a player I've been watching for the past couple of years, and honestly, he is fantastic when he gets himself hyped up. You put Sender, Miyagi, Chino together, and of course you include Slasher in there as well, and you do have a dominant force. But they have struggled a lot online. They've just managed to get in to the COD League, of course, or to the Season 3 finals, I should say. And their seed isn't the best. Their bracket is going to be very, very hard, which is why I'm saying, you know, I think these guys are really going to need to be playing 110% every single game. And it's something which isn't necessarily an easy thing to do. It is pretty tough sometimes, but hopefully they will be able to do it because Miyagi, a fantastic young player. I'm really excited to see what he does with his Call of Duty career. But this team, as I said, I think they may struggle, but who knows? Impossible is nothing, as they say. Impossible is nothing. So keep your eyes out for Noble Vanquish come this weekend. I believe we have a couple more teams yet. Most Wanted. And this team, I love this team. The last team, of course, Most Wanted. Spacely, Classic, Huddle, and Slack. It seemed at the start of this year that you had Spacely, Huddle, Slack, they all kind of, you know, and Classic, I don't know, they all just kind of, I don't know, I don't think they really wanted it. Then they managed to find themselves in this great team. I don't think I've ever seen any of these guys want it more. You know, you recognize a lot of these guys, you know, that played on FaZe, for example, but such a dominant force. Spacely as well, very, very down-to-earth individual. Love watching his stream. And to be honest, these guys, I think they have a big point to prove. That kind of pressure's off for them, you know? They don't have massive, massive fan bases, you know, just really driving them towards a championship. So I think that realistically they could come out and cause some massive, massive upsets. So do keep your eyes out for Most Wanted. That's all the teams that we're going to be seeing this weekend. And honestly, I am so, so excited. I can't wait. I'm going to be joined in Columbus, of course, by Puckett, Fwiz, and Maven. We're going to be bringing you all the action all weekend, every single game. You're not going to miss a thing. It's all going to be streamed right here on MLG.TV. Now, earlier on, you may have heard us talk about an announcement. I've been tweeting it all throughout the day, and I posted on Reddit as well. I know you guys get a little bit antsy about it, and you want to know what it is. So, without further ado, we have a fantastic announcement from MLG. Will, throw up the graphic, my friend. Yes, that's right. Take a moment, breathe it in. The analysis desk is finally coming to the Season 3 finals. And who better to bring all the action from the analysis desk than TEEPEE and Crimsix? They are two of the best players we could possibly find. Two world champions right there. And you know them from EG, of course. What a dominant run they went. If there's anyone that knows the game on a different level, it's these two players right here. So excited for them to be given the pro insight on all the action from Season 3 finals. It's going to be amazing. And of course, you can see that October 24th to October 26th. I'm so excited to be working with these guys. Really, really am. I think it's going to be an awesome, awesome event. And to have pro players insight always adds so much to just the viewer experience, I feel. There's only so much casters can really go into, but when you have a player, or two players in this case, who are not only world champions, but have been playing all year long at the highest level, they just know the game inside and out. They know the teams they're going to be watching. So hopefully for you guys watching at home, that's going to increase the viewer experience tenfold. So with that said, we are actually having an interview with TEEPEE and also Crimsix. That's going to be a little bit, but for now, we're going to go a quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will have that interview ready.